Hello folks, this is Solo speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. We're looking at some more early footage from the public beta for set 12. And in this game, we're going to be looking at the B team composition. This is the Honeymancer trait, and I've been hoping to get some footage playing this trait. And in this game, which is a double-up game with JDPL Grillo, we will get a chance to look at this team composition because it came together really nicely, and it's a good chance to look at the Honeymancer trait in more detail. So, as always, we start out with a portal. Grillo and I were hoping that we would not get trainer golems, but everybody else, of course, runs to trainer golems, and so, not surprisingly, we are going to get trainer golems. I really dislike this portal because everybody gets a golem with three emblems at the very start of the game, and as I've said before in previous videos, you can very easily just win or lose the game based on what's on this initial golem. But people seem to love this one, so it gets, whenever it pops up, there's always half the lobby runs to it, so it is what it is. That said, I immediately looked at this, and the three emblems that I have the B emblem, Honeymancer. I also have a Bastion emblem, which is a defensive tank trait. And then I also have Chrono, and it looked right away like this was a setup that could play well into the Honeymancer trait because I get +1 Honeymancer for free, and in addition to that, I have Bastion trait for free, and that actually does work here because the B trait does play into Bastion trait. You might notice I have a Blitzcrank, who is a B unit on the board. Blitzcrank's traits are Honeymancer plus Bastion. And then I also have this Chrono trait, which I don't know that Chrono necessarily fits with me that... Oh, wait, no, actually Blitzcrank is Vanguard. The Bastion I was getting from the Lilia I had on here. But Nunu, who is also a Honeymancer, does have the Bastion trait. Again, apologies for that. Set is still new. We're still trying to learn these. Bastion and Vanguard are two of the big tank traits in this set. I'm still trying to get down mentally which one is which. Okay, so Blitzcrank is Vanguard, and then the Nunu is Bastion. They're both tank traits. So anyway, I think I have a good setup to play this. I'm relatively happy with this. And I actually would look around the lobby. I hadn't looked at the lobby yet, but as of this point in time, it turns out that actually I am not going to be contested. First augment is silver. Out of these options, I'm going to take the Thief's Glove. And this Thief's Glove option is always a pretty good choice if you're going to take the, if you get a silver augment. It's especially a good choice for the first augment, I'll go ahead and say. And the reason for that is just the power of a Thief's Glove is stronger at the start of the game than later on in the game. The longer the game goes on, the less valuable items are, or items that come from augments are. I'm also going to go ahead and make the Ionic Spark. I definitely want to do that because Ionic Spark is a really good fit for this comp. And I also should go ahead and grab that charm. I think I don't necessarily grab all the charm. There we go. I want to click on any charm that is free, any charm that doesn't cost something, and that's because that actually plays into Vhagar, who's the most expensive B unit later on. But we'll get to that down the road when Vhagar actually shows up. So anyway, I am playing two B units. I'm playing the Blitzcrank and the Cogmaul. Then I also get a +1 Honeymancer from the Golems. That gets me to 3. And then I also have in a Namzi for Hunter trait. But I'm not sure that Hunter is what I necessarily should be emphasizing here. And I'm going to be fiddling around with my board a little bit. I actually think it makes more sense to get a little bit more frontline in this situation. So that's what I'm going to be looking to do a little bit later on here. So I actually get 2 Lilias, and as soon as that happens, I'm like, okay, I should definitely play the Lilia over the Namzi because the 2-star Lilia is going to be better. And I believe that I put the Thief's Glove on the Lilia because I know she's going to come out of my comp. As for Grillo, he has gone ahead and gotten, he has Fairy and Bastion, and I missed his third option there, but he actually ended up getting a Fairy emblem out of his augment. He took the silver augment that gives you a random emblem, and he ended up getting Fairy out of that. So now he has +2 Fairy on his board. The only unfortunate thing is it turns out that he's going to be very contested on playing Fairy in this game, so there's going to be other people playing that as well. But with him having +2 Fairy, which is another one of the big vertically scaling traits, he kind of has to go into that in this game. It would be crazy for him not to go down that road when he's getting +2 to the trait. That does mean that he has a possibility of trying to play the Chase trait, Fairy 9, which you typically need 2 emblems to play, but he actually does have 2 emblems in this game. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's only 7 Fairy units. But he can actually play Fairy 9 because he already has the double emblems. He would just have to get every other Fairy unit and also be level 9. So we're going to look to in that direction in this game. All right, let's cover my team because I can only show you the game from my point of view. We do not have true replays for TFT, even though it seems like it would be really easy to make them. But we do not have true replays for TFT, so I can only show you my footage, and that means you're going to be seeing mostly B units in this game. So what does the Honeymancer trait do? Let me go ahead and read you the formal description here. Honeymancers gain bees that deal magic damage to their target every 3 seconds. Each bee deals 7.5% of the Honeymancer's damage dealt and 2.5% of their damage taken. When a Honeymancer dies, leave 1 bee behind that follows nearby Honeymancers for the rest of combat. Okay, so you get that. At Honeymancer 3, everybody gets 3 bees. You can see them. There's a nice little visual indicator. You can see the 3 bees underneath the board, and they will deal damage to whoever the Honeymancer is attacking. It goes after their target, so it's not random. They hit whoever the unit is targeting, and they deal magic damage. Each bee deals 7.5% of the damage dealt and 2.5% of the damage taken. So it is, in a way, a scaling trait in the sense that the longer the fight goes on, the more damage the bees will do. We'll get back to that in a minute, but first we have a carousel. And somehow I am last pick on this carousel. I really didn't think my board was very strong, and I did lose 2 of the first 3 rounds. But we apparently are second place in health because one team hasn't lost yet, and the other teams are kind of face planting in epic fashion. And that means I will be last pick, so I'm going to have to take something off carousel. And since I don't see anything that's going to be good on a carry unit, I'm just going to go ahead and take a tank item. There we go. I wanted that belt for Warmogs. It's also on a 3 gold Bard unit, and so this is going to allow me to make Ionic Spark plus Warmogs and have that for my Blitzcrank up in the front line, who is my main tank right now. I also managed to hit a 2-star Seraphine, which is something that can potentially go over to Grillo. I'm also going to grab the Charm that costs 0 gold, and then there's another Blitzcrank in the store, so I will definitely look to pick up that. And I can't remember. I think I sell the Nomsies here because I'm like, all right, I'm not really playing through Hunter trait. Cogmal has Hunter trait, and Hunter is a trait that gives attack damage, but that's not really going to do anything here. I have a 1-star Cog with no items, so that's not going to do much of anything. Anyway, getting back to the bees again. So as I said, back to the bees again. All of my Honeymancer units get 3 bees. If I can get up to Honeymancer 5, that would require finding either Nunu or Vagar. Then I will get up to 5 bees apiece. And that actually is a pretty big spike in terms of how much damage the bees do, because more bees means more damage. Now, in terms of building this trait, remember, it's a kind of a scaling trait because it works off of damage dealt and damage taken over the course of the fight. So the more damage your units are doing, the more damage the bees will hit for. And again, that stacks up over the course of the fight. So you actually do want to have strong frontline when playing this trait, because if your frontline just gets bowled over instantly and the fight is over quickly, the bees don't do much damage. But if you can manage to stall out the fights for, 20, 25, 30 seconds, every 3 seconds, those bees tick. As you see, Grillo sends me another Ziggs back there. Every 3 seconds, the bees tick, and the damage is based on how much damage your units have done and almost how much they have taken. So your carries will deal more damage from the bees as they deal damage, and your tanks will deal more damage because as they take damage, the bees scale up in that regard as well. And of course, whenever a unit dies, they send a bee over to someone else. By the way, note that the Golem with the bee emblem does have bees as well. So yeah, even though that seems kind of ridiculous, yes, the Golem also has little bees trailing it around, which is pretty hilarious. So anyway, that's a little background on how the bees work. You'll note that I've gone ahead and built an Ionic Spark on Blitzcrank, and I think that Ionic Spark is really, really important to build on this team composition because the bees deal magic damage. The damage is not physical, it's not true damage, it is magic damage, so you really, really, really want a magic resistant shred. I suppose you can do static shiv as well, but I'm not sure that there's a great unit to put the static shiv on. Personally, I'm not sure that there's a great one for that. Anyway, I have gotten the champion send back, and I'm continuing to look for fairy units to send over to Grillo, and I believe that I sent him the 2-star Lilia here, because he was looking to get more Lilia. So of course now I've just kind of torn right through my own front line. It's like, okay, well, there goes my front line. Now what am I going to do? But obviously he's grabbing Lilias over there. He's playing a fairy board. It just makes more sense. And I asked if he wanted me to send him the Seraphine, but I believe he already had Seraphine, and he was not trying to 3-star Seraphine. And meanwhile, I'm also going to pick up this... which unit is that? Geez, I just grabbed this. I believe it's Cassiopeia, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. And I'm going to use her to hold items that will go on a future Vhagar, because Vhagar is kind of the main carry as this game, as this team develops. I also picked up Wukong. Wukong's an interesting unit. Wukong does not have any traits. He's just intended to be like a frontline tank who doesn't have any trait. He has a unique trait called Druid, but he's the only unit in the game that has that, so he basically doesn't have any traits. But you can plug him in to get additional frontline, and I was going to do that, but then Nunu showed up in my shop anyway, so I was like, oh, cool, great, I'll just play the Nunu instead. And so Nunu now, with him in there, I get the 5 Honeymancer in. So now all my units have 5 Bs instead, and again, the damage is per B, so it's 7.5% of damage dealt, 2.5% of damage taken per B. So, you know, if, I don't know, if like Kog'Maw has done 1,000 damage, then the next B is going to do 75 times 5. You know, that's not nothing. Pretty decent. But if Kog'Maw deals 10,000 damage, each B is going to do 750 damage times 5 the next time it ticks. So that actually starts to get pretty significant as the fights go on. That's why I said you do actually want to have strong frontline when you play this board. Now, in terms of the Honeymancer units, there. I'll get to this in a second. We have the augment here. I'm looking at the options here. I was hoping I might get another B augment. That's not available, but I do have Spell Blades. Whenever one of your champions casts, their next ability deals bonus magic damage equal to 175% of their ability power. That's a pretty good fit here because this is kind of a spellcasting trait, so it's not going to be that bad. And I do actually have some units with relatively low mana cost. Ziggs is relatively low. I think he's 50 mana. Let me look that up real quick. Yeah, Ziggs is 50 mana and Vhagar's only 40 mana. So you'd really like to get a blue buff on Vhagar later on. And blue is not bad on Ziggs either. So they're going to be casting a lot, which means that they'll be able to take good use of the Spell Blades. As I said, this is kind of a magic damage comp. The only unit that deals physical damage in this comp is Kog'Maw. And I am not going to be playing through the Kog'Maw. I'm kind of not hitting Kog'Maws, period. And in addition to that, I don't really have AD items either. So that is not something that's going to be that useful for me. I've also grabbed a Tristana because that was a unit that Grillo needed. We'll just hold that on the board for right now. And now that I've gotten up to level 5, I'm going to be looking to start rerolling here. By the way, it looks like I'm going to lose this fight. But remember, the bees scale over the course of the fight. So the longer this fight goes on, the more damage those bees are going to do. And there we go. We get a bee proc there. I love this trait. I'm going to get a B proc there from the Ziggs at the end of the fight. And yeah, that actually does add quite a bit of damage. So you got to be careful with the bees. It's a little bit like the ghosts from the Ghostly trait. Is that what it was called in the previous set, in set 11? How the ghosts would just scale up over time. All right, and so I finally find the Vhagar, so I'm going to put him in. Now that takes me to 6 Honeymancer, and 6 Honeymancer is not going to make anything new, so I would love to somehow get a Spatula if I could, because Spatula, Honeymancer is a makeable Spatula recipe. It is glove plus Spatula. So if I could somehow get a Spatula here, I could play 7 Honeymancer, which would take me up to 7 bees per unit, and would just be really strong in general. So there are only 5 Honeymancer units. Again, I'm getting +1 from the Golem, but there's only 5 of these units, and they're all inexpensive units. You have 2 at the 1 cost tier. You have Ziggs, and you have the Blitzcrank. They're both 1 cost. And then you have 2 at the 2 cost tier. You have Kog'Maw and Nunu. And then finally, there's only 1 unit at the 3 cost tier, which is the Vhagar. So 2 1 cost, 2 2 cost, 1 3 cost. So this is very, very obviously a reroll trait. If you're going to play this, you have to reroll. Just as simple as that. And so that's what I'm doing. I've gotten up to level 5, and now I'm going to look to slow roll here. And we'll see what we hit. If like right now, the most important unit for me to hit is the Blitzcrank, because Blitz is holding my tank items. I would really like to 3-star the Blitzcrank. I am not as invested in the Ziggs. Like, Ziggs has a Thief's Glove, so it's not going to hurt or anything like that, but it's not as important. I'm also going to be 3rd pick here. I'm going to take the Glove. I'm quite happy to take this because now I can make Jeweled Gauntlet. My top item was actually a tier there. I was hoping to make Blue Buff for Vhagar, but when that wasn't available, we'll take the Glove, and then we can look to make Jeweled Gauntlet. And of course, that's going to allow his magic damage to crit, because Vhagar will eventually turn into the main carry on this board, and I will want to get Mage Trait in for him eventually. Here is the gift round for Grillo, so we're going to see what he wants. I can't remember which one he took. It was either the Component Anvil or the 4-cost Champ, which are... All right, he went ahead and took the 4-cost Champ option there. Of course, I could purchase these charms, but I don't want to spend too much gold on that because I need to spend the gold for re-rolling. I will pick up a Galio, though, because Galio is a unit I want to put on the board. And that's because Galio gives me two things that are really useful for this comp. One is he's going to give me the Vanguard trait, and there we go. I'll click on another charm. 1 gold for me, 1 gold for my opponent, but also gets a charm in play. Galio will give me the Vanguard trait. That's very nice. That'll synergize with the Blitzcrank. Again, in this set, Vanguard trait gives your units your Vanguard shielding. Bastion trait gives them armor and magic resistance. Also gives the whole team a very small amount of armor and MR. So Vanguard shields, Bastion, armor, and MR, and I've got both traits in at the moment. Mostly this just makes Blitzcrank a little more tanky. And again, look at Blitz. He's tanking, he's tanking, he's tanking. We got to stack up those Bs for Veigar. Can we win this fight? I mean, it looks like we're going to lose this fight, but Veigar is still alive. Got to get those B procs, and there we go. So it probably looked like we were going to lose those fights, but don't underestimate the Bs. Like I said, B team's deceptively strong as the fight goes on because those Bs get stronger it goes on. But anyway, and then Galio, he gives me the, I'm going to send that Trist over, which is nice because I needed to clear out the bench space. But anyway, Galio gives me Vanguard trait for Blitz, but he also gives me a rank of Mage trait. Galio has 3 traits. It's Vanguard, and Mage, and also Portal. Now, Portal's not going to do anything for me. Oh, and by the way, here's the other gift round for double up, or my half of the gift round. And I'm going to take a Thief's Glove and just put it on Nunu, because I only have so many items that I can afford. Like I'm not going to get enough items to itemize every single unit. So I have the tank items going on Blitz, because he's going to be 3-starred first, and then the magic damage items going on Veigar, and then I can afford to put a Thief's Glove on the Ziggs, and then also on the Nunu. But I'm just not going to get enough items to itemize everyone, so I'm trying to make sure all of my B units are getting items. The other nice thing that having the +1 Honeymancer from the Golem meant is I could take the Cogmaul off the board, who really was doing basically nothing, and that allowed me to play the Galio instead, who's a much better unit. And now, obviously, the next unit I would want to get in is some kind of Mage. The best one to put in would be Vex, because Vex has Mage plus Chrono traits. And by the way, once again, the Bees scale up over the course of the fight. Now, how much damage Ziggs did? Ziggs did 5,000 damage in that fight. Way to go, Ziggs. But again, I'm just still slow rolling here. I'm now on 7 Blitzes, 7 Ziggs. I would really like to hit these. And there's a couple other units over there on the part of Grillo, and we're about to have the Send transform, so we wanted to use it on this round. We were hoping he might hit a 2-star version of some of these units, but we wanted to use that Send before we hit stage 4, and then it takes longer for it to cool down again. So I said, why don't you just send me the 1-star Blitzcrank, and then that way we get the Send that comes back, I think, in 5 rounds instead of 8 rounds, and so we'll get it back faster. And then I'm going to get some more stuff here. Oh, what's this? Oh, hello. Hello. There's a spatula here. Oh, boy. Now I just need to get a glove. If I can get a glove, then I will have the whatchamacallit, then I'll be able to make 7 Honeymancer, which would be absolutely amazing. And by the way, I get a charm that allows me to get a shop duplicator. So we'll go ahead and put that in. And oh, by the way, there's a Vex in the store. Why don't I buy this Vex? I definitely should be playing the Vex over the Cogmaul right now. I wonder if did I not see that during the game? There was a lot going on here. I'm going to reforge the bow, and was hoping that would turn into a glove. It's only 1 in 7 odds for that to turn into a glove, but I was hoping that would turn into a glove. But that was really big. I was able to get the 3-star Blitz, and then I was also able to get a Champion Duplicator out of the Charm, and then the Champion Duplicator allowed me to duplicate the last Ziggs. So now I have Ziggs 3-star, Blitz 3-star. That's going to help a lot. Again, Blitz is my main tank, and Ziggs is doing a lot of damage right now. Unfortunately, we are not able to rescue that fight because Grillo was getting reinforced on. Grillo's problem is he does not have a carry at the moment. He kind of has everything he needs, except he doesn't have a carry. So he really needs to get a fairy unit that is a carry. And it turns out that he's about to get one. He needs to find a Callista. She's the main carry on this board. Anyway, I'm scrolling through, and oh, beast friends. Honeymancers gain 1 more bee when the bees jump to a new unit. Hold on, let me find and by the way, there is a Callista. I actually find her in the store, so I will look to send that over to Grillo as soon as the send is up. Let me grab this augment for you, Beast Friends, because it went off the screen a little bit fast. All right, here's the description. Honeymancer's gained 1 more bee. So remember, Honeymancer 5 is 5 bees. Now I have this augment, so now I'm up to 6 bees. If I can find a glove, then I'll get 2 more, and I'll have 8 bees. I just need to find that glove so I can get +4. It looks like the animation did not update for this round, but it will update for the next round. Anyway, so Honeymancer's gain 1 more bee. That's the main aspect. When bees jump to a new Honeymancer, the Honeymancer gains a 25% max health shield. So when a unit dies, the Honeymancer switches to a new target. And then when that happens, my units get a max health shield. That's really nice because, as I keep saying, this is a trait that scales up over the course of the fight. So we just want to be tanky so the bees can keep dealing more damage. All right, so once again, we've got the Blitz up there. We've got the Blitz as long as he can keep tanking there. Yeah, so it turns out that the Blitz actually did the most damage in that fight. 4,000 damage from Blitz. And that's because as people keep hitting him, Blitz tanks more damage. And the more damage he tanks, the more that gets reflected back in the bees. Now, I'd love to get 1 more item on him. If I could get like another vest for a Bramble Vest, that would be perfect because he would have Warmogs plus Bramble Vest plus Ionic Spark. Like, that would be really, really good. I also wouldn't mind making Steadfast Heart, but that requires a glove, and if I get a glove, it's 100% going to be used for the Honeymancer spat. So I'm just really keeping my fingers crossed I can get 1 more glove and make that Honeymancer spatula because I would so like to get up to the 7 Honeymancers. Yeah, you can see now the bee graphic is updated and all the units have 6 bees attached to them. So the damage is starting to get pretty significant. Like I said, if Vhagar deals, I don't know, 1,000 damage, it's 75 times 6, which is what, 300 more? That's pretty nice. So for every 1,000 damage he deals what, 300 more damage with the bees? Yeah, you can see again, by the end of the fight, it's pretty significant. The Ziggs did 5,000 damage by the end of the fight. So 5,000 times 7.5% times 6. I'm going to use my little calculator here because that's starting to get a little large on the math. All right, so 5,000 damage times 0.075. That's 375. Then times 6 bees. That's 2,250. Wait, I think I'm doing that wrong. 5,000 damage times 0.075. 375 times... No, that's right. Wow, that's... Okay, that bee damage gets to be an awful lot by the end of the fight. Once they get up to like 5,000 damage, it's an awful lot. Okay, so anyway, I wanted a glove here. There is no glove here. That's pretty sad. No glove for me, so I will just fall back on getting another rod. And I have a rod on my bench, so that could be a death cap. Could also be a crown guard for Blitz, which I don't think would be bad, but I'll just go ahead and make the death cap here. Note there's also a 0-cost charm. Oh, as I send the Callista over to Grillo. A 2-cost champ you have transforms into a 3-cost. I do not want to click this because that could very easily turn like the Nunu into something that is not a bee, and that would be a real problem. Anyway, we're going to put the Vex on the board. I should have been playing the Vex over the Cog. It was a mistake not to have Vex in sooner. But Vex will give me Chrono and also give Mage Trait. And so that's really big because now the Vhagar will double cast. Mage Trait is back from previous sets. Mage has been in a series of different ones. It's the same as it was in other sets. The numbers, I'm sure they'll tweak over the course of the set. But Mage is double cast. When you have them in. Mages cast their ability twice. Mage 3 is they double cast at lower ability power. Right now it's 75%. But still, just casting twice is great. Having Vhagar cast twice instead of once is really nice. And then Chrono is also a team-wide trait. It's nice having this in. Again, I'm getting Chrono from the Golem. Chrono is the one that it starts a 16-second countdown at the start of the fight. And when that goes off, your team, at Chrono 2, your team restores 20% health, and Chronos gain 20 more ability power. We might dive deeper into Chrono trait at some point in time down the road, but not in this particular game. So I'm really happy with how things are looking right now. I've just managed to get, what is this? There's a Champion Send. I got the 2-star Vhagar coming over from Grillo, so that's quite nice. So that gets me up to 6 Vhagars, and I'm going to stay here on level 7 and just slow roll until I can hit Vhagar 3 stars. So I need 3 more Vhagars to make this work. The lobby overall is pretty close. A number of these teams, so it might look like my team is super strong, but remember, this is a game where everybody has the golems, so everybody is going to have 3 emblems, and everybody can go after chase traits. So like this team is what is it? This team has Preserver. Yeah, this team has Preserver 4. Preserver is considered to be a little bit overtuned. It's causes your team to regenerate health and mana, and you can see, look at the health and mana regeneration on this team with Preserver 4. They just regenerate a kind of a ridiculous amount, and apparently I do not have enough damage to get through that. So I would really benefit from having a heal cut of some kind. That would be really nice to have. And I just don't have enough damage to punch through their healing, and I do not have anything that reduces it. So even though it feels like my team is really strong, a lot of these other teams are quite strong too. And then there's another team that has double Frost emblems, and I believe they only need to find Diana to play Frost 9, which is going to be really strong. Of course, Grillo only needs to find the remaining. He just needs to find Emilio and get to level 9, and he can play 9 Fairy, which is also going to be really, really strong because that's another chase trait that requires double emblems. So I just need to hope that I can maybe get a glove here. I really want a glove. I actually don't want this. Double artifact emblem is not what I want. But then look, there's a gain a component anvil. I'm like, okay, can I grab this? And yes, the glove is there. All right, let's go ahead and take that. So we want to put the B spatula on someone. I'll put it on Vex, and then I actually did get another vest, so I can make the. I can go ahead and make the whatchamacallit, the what am I looking for? The Bramble Vest for Blitzcrank. And then I also wanted to get either a I was hoping for a tier. There was no tier option, so I'll make a Shojin instead. And then out of these options here, I don't really have anything that's that great. Unfortunately, now I need to kind of get a tank item. I actually want tank items here, but none of these are that great. So I'll just put this Wit's End on Cog so he attacks a bit more frequently. And here I can actually get a tank item. There's a Zanya's Paradox. So I will happily take this, and I can look to put this on. I think the Vex is probably the best target because I put the B emblem on the Vex. So I might as well put this on Vex as well. But now we have the 7 Honeymancer. So now I have 8 Bs, 7 from the trait, and then +1 from that B augment. So everybody gets 8 Bs now. That's getting to be an awful lot of Bs. So anyway, yeah, we'll put this on the Vex. There we go. And as I said, I have an awful lot of Bs. So I'll continue to pick up Nunus and Cogmos. I'm not really expecting them to, not really expecting to 3-star these, but it's possible. I still have pretty good odds for the 2 costs here on level 7. And by the way, I should definitely pick up inexpensive charms. Anything that costs like 1 gold or less, I should pick these up. In part because when you're rerolling your shop, remember you get a charm every 3rd shop. So having more, if you're rerolling a lot, you actually want to pick up a cheap charm so that you will see more champions in the shop and not have 1 out of every 3 shops eating up one of the shop slots. So you definitely want to get more charms in that regard. But I also have more of an incentive to buy charms because Vhagar actually scales off charms. Let me read his official ability description for you here. Vhagar is very simple. His ability is King Bee's Judgment. Deal magic damage to the target. That's the description. Deal magic damage to the target. So he just fires off a blast that deals damage. But he also does have a passive. Gain 3 ability power for every charm you buy. So every time I buy a charm, he gets another 3 AP. So that is very worthwhile to do if I can get them at inexpensive prices. So yeah, I should probably pick up some of these that don't cost very much. And I am also getting very close to hitting some of these. Like I said, I'm on now 7 Nunus and 7 Cogmals. So I will, and I'm also on 7 Vhagars, and I will go ahead and drop the Galio. It's not bad to grab Galio here just because it does thin out the rank of 2 costs a little bit, but I'm running out of bench space, and Galio is not an important unit to hit in this build. But he just is there to thin out the ranks of the 2 costs. All right, anyway, so we're up against this board again. I am feeling pretty strong right now. Just I want to hit the 3-star Vhagar so I can cap out my board. If I can hit Nunu and Cog, that would be nice, but Vhagar is clearly the key unit I need to hit. I'm definitely going to beat this board, but then I'm going to get reinforced on, and okay, yeah, there's like 6 units on top of Vhagar, so definitely would have won that round. I think I might have the strongest board right now, but I'm not going to be able to win if it's 2v1 like that, so... it's actually a close lobby. We're on 12 health. There's a team on 5, and there's a team on 19. Oh, and by the way, look at this. There's another fairy emblem on this carousel. and Grillo is still playing fairy. So he can actually have 3 fairy emblems, which is going to make it very easy to run fairy 9. He just has to get to level 9, but I believe he's just about able to do that. Now, unfortunately, there's not really anything that I want that badly on this carousel. I probably should have tried to take the Camille just to deny it. There's also a play that I did not realize while playing this game that I could have made. I could have grabbed the blue buff, and then I could have item removed the items off of Veigar and put the blue buff on him, because blue is definitely better than Shojin on him. But I did not see that move to make. So that would have been slightly better, and it also would have denied a Camille to someone on the other team. But, oh well, it is what it is. Anyway, we're still rolling here, still trying to hit stuff. And then I might as well buy the charm that costs nothing. Now, obviously, this doesn't give me any in-combat power, but I'm not really that interested in in-combat power. I'm just interested in trying to finish out my board. Now, there's another Veigar here, so I'm going to have to take that. So we'll definitely grab that. And then there's another Cog, so I'll sell the Vex. I'm not likely to hit Vex 3-star, so now I have 8 Cogs, 8 Veigars, and 7 Nunu. So I'm really close, and Grillo has another Veigar over there as well. So we just need the Champion Send to cool down, and we'll have the 3-star Veigar ready to go. All right, this person has the 5 Preserver board. This is the one I lost to, I think, the last time that I hit this board, because I just didn't have enough healing. I just didn't have enough damage to get through the healing. But now that I have the 7 Honeymancers, my damage has increased enough that I think that I do just plow right through this board. Yeah, now the damage has increased enough that I actually do have enough to get through this. Yeah, Veigar does 8,000 damage. If he got a B proc on the 8,000 damage, what would the damage be on that B proc if he does 8,000 damage? Hold on, 8,000 damage times 0.75. That's 600 damage times 8 Bs. That's 4,800 damage if he gets a B proc. If he gets a B proc with all these Bs. Again, you're not going to get 8 Bs in most games. I want to point out this is like a really big high roll moment to have 8 Bs on here. But yeah, he does an awful lot. This was the gift round, and I just asked Grillo to send me gold because all I really needed was more gold to roll with. And he has now managed to get the 9 fairies in as well. Just if you're curious what the 9 fairy does, let me read the description for that. I wish I could show more of his board. I wish we had real replays, but we don't. Fairies gain health and create special items that became stronger with trait tiers. Choose a queen with the fairy crown. That unit gets damage amp. He has Callista as the fairy queen. And then when you get up to Fairy 6, you can choose a Loyal Guard with Glamored Armor that grants health healing based on the Queen's damage. Fairy 9 is all the units gain 1,000 health, 75% damage amp, and the Crown and Armor become Radiant. So, yeah, again, it's a chase trait. You're not really supposed to get there. Anyway, I am up against the Frost 9 team, and yeah, Frost 9's pretty strong. So you can see, even though I thought my board was probably the strongest in the lobby, you can see I actually end up losing this fight. It was close, but they did have Frost 9, so yeah, I'm going to end up losing that one. And so now over there on Grillo's board, his Callista is, yeah, shredding everything. So he's actually going to knock out that team, and now it's down to just us and this one other team. So I have Honeymancer 7, Grillo has Fairy 9, one of these teams is Frost 9, and another team is Preserver 5. So we all have like these chase traits, although Preserver 5 only requires 1 emblem, not 2. But anyway, I hit the 3-star Veigar, and Grillo didn't even have to send me the Veigar. So that is a really, really big spike for my board, because Veigar is my main damage dealer right now. Veigar 3-star, his damage, let's see. Yeah, his damage goes up by a lot. Currently in this build, his damage is 300 base at 2-star, 480 at 3-star. So he increases his damage by like 65%, something like that. It's a big, big spike. And of course, as I buy more charms, he continues to get more AP. I'm also still on 8 Nunus and 8 Cogmos, 7 Nunus. So I'm now looking to see what other unit I can play. And the most logical thing is to play another Incanter, because that will help Ziggs' damage go up and give the whole team a slightly more AP. Also, my bees gain additional attack speed this round, so okay, we'll go ahead and take that. I get a Nunu coming over from Grillo. I was able to hit the 3-star Cog. It's not super important, but it's something. And I was like, I want to play Camille? No, not necessarily. I don't think I need to play that. And now I'm really looking for Karma, because she's an Incanter who also has Chrono Trait. The correct way to play, and I'm going to grab this blue buff because blue's actually really good on Karma. Now, the correct way to do this, if the game were to go on for a long time, is I would find Karma, put Karma in, and then that would maintain Chrono Trait. It would also give me Incanter, and then take out Vex and replace Vex with Nora, who's the 5-cost mage, and that's the correct way to play this. But I mean, again, we're getting to the end of the game. You might have seen I just kind of blew past the last player, but yeah, that would be the correct play. But again, we're so new in the set that still trying to figure this stuff out, and I do wish that Karma had shown up a little bit sooner. But Karma is not going to show up until the last second here. There she is. So now I can put her on the board. Again, the correct play is take out the Vex and play Nora instead. But it's fine. Anyway, I won the last round against the Preserver board. Now I'm going to be up against the Frost board. So how does 7 Honeymancer do against 9 Frost? Which is stronger, 9 Frost or 7 Honeymancer? Well, as it turns out, you don't want to mess with the bees, because 7 Honeymancer with all 5 Honeymancer units 3-starred just absolutely annihilates this board, and it is not close. So we're going to win this round, and that's going to end up winning the game. Grillo was pretty easily winning his round as well. And that's going to wrap this up in what was a very entertaining game. So really fun. I mean, I basically hit everything associated with the bees that you could possibly want in this game. +1 Honeymancer from the Golem, another +1 Honeymancer from the Spatula to play the 7 Honeymancer, and then also get the augment that gave me an additional bee. Having 8 bees per unit is ridiculous. You're not supposed to get more than 5, but I had 8 of them, and I 3-starred every single bee unit. So, I mean, this is a pretty wild high roll. And we were getting a lot of loot from the portal we had at the beginning of the game. But still, it was a memorable game, and it was fun. So I hope you enjoyed watching this. Anyway, once again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope everybody enjoyed this video. Until next time, have a great week, folks. And I will see you again soon.